okay, I absolutely understand the conflict in the Middle East is horrifying, and we very much are concerned about World War III and don't want that to happen. And we want civilians not to die. I get that. But I got to be honest, there is a component in the more social elements here that is absolutely hilarious. Starbucks is suing its union after they tweeted out solidarity with Palestine after Hamas killed a bunch of civilians. Okay, look, first, it is horrifying that the Starbucks union is standing with abject terror, okay? What Hamas did is part of their military doctrine or whatever. And that's why it's, people get mad when you call them militants or a military operation, because it's outside the confines of what we determine to be like, military. Targeting civilians, killing civilians, capturing children, killing children, burning people, shooting people. I mean, this is not your typical military operation. It is abject terror on civilians. Now, I understand. Look, the things we say about war crimes, I've talked about this. When one side is ideologically driven and won't back down, they will do anything to win. That is the horror of hot conflict. But this is actually, this should be enlightening for so many people to see the left overtly supporting these ideas. And I will sum it up for you as we get into the story. Starbucks suing its own union. Understand that these far leftists who are cheering on Hamas celebrate when they kill you. You think I'm joking? They spray paint it on walls. They write it down. When they go out and kill Americans for their political values or opinions, the far left celebrates, just like they're celebrating now. These people are evil. But hey, look, man, you reap what you sow. I kind of think, look, we talk about civil war, whatever you want to say. And when we're at the point where the people who run Starbucks know it is wrong to support Hamas, and it is likely going to result in lost business, the union doesn't care. Look at this bifurcation. This is crazy. The Intercept reports. The coffee company says the union, Starbucks Workers United, is making people think it stands in solidarity with Palestine after the Hamas attack. Starbucks is suing its union. This is from yesterday. Starbucks Workers United, after objecting to the group's social media post in support of Palestine after the Hamas attack on Israel. No, Starbucks, this one's on you. This one is on you. Now, I can respect them suing the union over this, but this is who you hire. These are the policies you've employed. Welcome to the world you created. Now, again, good. Fire them. In fact, I think they should be able to just terminate all of these employees. They say, according to an internal company note circulated Tuesday, obtained by The Intercept, the company had previously condemned the post, but is now upping the ante, planning to take the union to court. In a message from Executive Vice President Sarah Kelly, Starbucks argued that the union's use of the name Starbucks confuses customers, and that some customers took their anger over the SWU statement on store employees. No, I will not. Starbucks, I'm sorry. I'm done. Until you remove these people, I believe in the boycott and boycott plan, right? We got cast brew coffee anyway. I don't need no Starbucks. Now, I'll be the first to admit, when I go out and I want coffee, I go to Starbucks. You know why? They're like the only coffee shop that has heavy cream. For real. It's so annoying. I went to this like fancy local Italian coffee shop and I asked for a cup of coffee with some heavy cream in it because I don't want none of that garbage half and half. And the lady says, sure, turns her back and secretly pours half and half in my coffee. I kid you not. And then turns around and I look at it. I'm like, lady, I know what half and half looks like. And then I was like, is this half and half? He goes, yeah. And I was like, okay, I asked for heavy cream. He goes, oh, we don't have that. I'm like, then why didn't you tell me that? I was furious. First world problems, right? No, but in all seriousness, Starbucks has heavy cream. And so it's usually like I go there, I know I can get what I want. That's one of the reasons they're successful. It's a big chain and they have more options. But I'm not going to go to Starbucks. And I mean it. I canceled my Disney Plus subscription years ago because they thanked the security forces in China who are operating the Uyghur Muslim concentration camps. And I'm like, all right, that's it for me, dude. I'm out. I don't expect everyone to abandon every product or whatever. But look, I'm going to tell you right here, Starbucks, this is your union. These are your recognized employees. You as a corporation might be saying we don't stand with Hamas, but your employees who are in the union do. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I do. We have castbrew.com. We buy our own coffee. But when I'm out and about and need a cup of coffee, we do not yet have a large chain of cast brew coffee shops. So I'll go to Starbucks and I'll keep it real simple. I'll walk into a store and say, are you guys part of the union? And if they say yes, I'll be like, have a good one. And you know what? They won't care anyway. It's bad for Starbucks. The union doesn't care. The employees don't care. Now, maybe I'll go to someone and be like, no, we're not a union store. And I'll be like, okay, good. Because you've got evil in your ranks at Starbucks. But I got to tell you, man, it is absolutely fascinating as to how this will play out. Starbucks' union supporting Hamas. Starbucks being like, dude, what? Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Starbucks. Remember when those dudes wanted to use the bathroom and they got kicked out and then you bent the knee to the woke mob? You reap what you sow. They say, the union's post read, solidarity with Palestine, and quote tweeted an image of a bulldozer breaking through the fence and circling Gaza. More than 9,000 workers at 360 stores have now voted to join SWU, which is affiliated with Workers United and SEIU, according to its website. But they've been met with stiff resistance from the company on a potential contract. The company previously sent SWU a cease and desist, threatening legal action, and now plans to follow through with that threat. The message reads, shortly after October 7th, Workers United posted a statement with an image of a bulldozer tearing down part of the Israel and Gaza border, reflecting their support for violence perpetrated by Hamas. Unfortunately, as violence against innocent in the region continues to escalate, some people are mistakenly tying these remarks to us. Because Workers United and its affiliates and members continue to use our name, logo, and intellectual property, Starbucks unequivocally condemns acts of terror, hate, and violence committed by Hamas, and we strongly disagree with the views expressed by Workers United, including its local affiliates, union organizers, and those who identify as members of the Starbucks Workers United. None of these groups speak for Starbucks Coffee Company and do not represent our company's views, positions, or beliefs. Their words and actions belong to them and them alone. Lies! Wrong. I ain't playing that game. Let's be real. Starbucks, these are your employees. You hired them. They didn't just arbitrarily become the union of Starbucks. They worked at your stores. You chose to have these people in your stores. Okay, man. Boycott. Now, I'll say it outright. I'm not going to buy any Starbucks. That's it. I mean, I shouldn't be in the first place. I'm not a big fan, but, you know, I tell people this. I am not this hardcore bang on the wall screaming boycott kind of person. I think the boycotts are good. A few years ago, I wasn't as into them. I'm into them more so now, and I believe in boycotts. But I've long said, look, man, I don't expect you to cancel your Netflix, your Amazon, your Disney, because people don't do that, and it's not a winning strategy. We need to build alternatives, which is why we're launching cast brew coffee shops. It's very difficult. It's taking a very long time. Construction, permits, all of that stuff, franchise legalities and contracts and all that stuff. And hopefully one day we can have a network of cast brew shops. And I'll tell you this. I'm not going to just sit here and be like, I'm suing my employees who are praising overt acts of terror. I will state, there is a challenge and there is a line when it comes to firing people for their opinions. I don't know how I would play. I can't pretend to have all the answers, right? We've got people, as I mentioned here at Timcast, who are pro-Israel, anti-Israel, right? And that's fine. You're allowed to have these opinions. If someone here started overtly praising acts of terror against civilians, I don't know how I'd respond. I don't know that I'd fire them right away. Like, you know, this is interesting. I can certainly understand we'd probably lose a lot of business. And, you know, the issue is the Starbucks employees at the Starbucks union is like the core of the company, right? I mean, it's not like every one of their employees, but these are people who work in your stores and are running your stores. I don't want to support them. I don't want them getting money. And I can understand people feel that way about, you know, people who might work here. But the people who work here engage, you know, is like a handful of people. We're not as big as Starbucks. I will say, though, even I have my limits. And there's two things to consider. If someone said something that was a naughty word, like they were complaining about, you know, trans kids or something, and we started losing business, I'd tell people to go screw themselves. People ought to have these opinions. They're not, you know, but if someone here was advocating for killing civilians and overt acts of terror and stuff, then I might actually say, look, you shouldn't be here. I don't know why you want to work with us. We clearly disagree on this one, and it's not a cohesive culture. It's not so much saying like, because of your opinions, I'm shocked and scared and need to cancel you. It's more like, you know, we really disagree on this. The goal we have here at Timcast is winning a culture war. And if someone who's working here is actively working against our aims, I probably don't want them here. It's not so much about me being scared of a mob and being like, I have to fire you. It's about someone working against what our mission is, right? Many corporations argue this exactly. But most of cancel culture and most of these corporations are only firing people because they're scared of they're losing money. I'm more concerned about, are we going to win a culture war, and are we advocating for ideals we believe in? Attacking civilians like what Hamas is doing is not part of the ideals I hold. That being said, many of these businesses claim like, oh, LGBT rights. So when the activists call them, they fire people. That's the world they live in. I think that's extreme. I don't want to live in that world. I think someone's allowed to have opinions on left, right, up, down, religion, whatever. But if you're advocating for terror from Hamas, you're crossing the line as far as I'm concerned. And for that being said, if someone started advocating here for Israel to, what do they call, glass Gaza, I'd have the exact same conversation. Like, bro, you are not advocating for the values that we want and are trying to instill. We are not just a company that's making media. We have values here that we are trying to instill and spread a message. My point is this, and I've made this point quite a bit. It's not so much that cancel culture was wrong because people had bad opinions and got fired. It was because the left was digging up 10-year-old posts and retroactively applying statements to today. There's a big difference between someone today saying a thing and someone 10 years ago saying something. Someone said something 10 years ago, I'll ask them like, if they haven't said it in a while, I'm like, I don't know, it's just not material to the conversation we're having right now, and people change, right? But I also think it's important to understand that it's not always just about principles. It's not just like, I believe in free speech, therefore anyone can say whatever they want. No, we have our moral lines. It's about moral lines. And we tend to be, on the freedom faction side, more tolerant of opinions we disagree with. Hence, there are people in this company who are very anti-Israel. I disagree with them, but they're allowed to have those opinions. I think they're wrong typically, but they make good points and we try to have a conversation about it. No one here is advocating for any kind of killing of civilians or terrorism or anything like that. And so I'm like, let's have our differing opinions. As for Starbucks, they're overtly celebrating Hamas, right? I cannot, I'm not about there, right? They say Starbucks did not immediately respond to a request for comment, nor did Starbucks Workers United. The full note is below, also with bolding in the original. They say a message from Sarah Kelly affirming Starbucks' position and addressing statements from Workers United. I'm not going to read their whole statement, right? You get the point. The point is quite simple, my friends. The far left is clearly in support of what Hamas is doing. We just went through this huge news cycle where they lied about the bombing of a hospital. And you know what happens? People are zealots. This is why I absolutely detest this subject matter. Now, I have no beef with Israel. What I'm saying is, for whatever reason, when it comes to Israel, people's brains explode from their skulls. Yesterday, there was reporting that a hospital was bombed. Lie. Not true. The evidence today suggests a parking lot was on fire. Seriously, the building's intact. And this could be wrong too. We don't know, but for the most part, this is where it seems to be. The Wall Street Journal ran a headline saying hospital bombed, hundreds dead. Why did they believe that? It's crazy, man. Because I even see the crazy thing to me is that people, myself included, all these people were arguing not over whether or not the hospital was actually hit, but who did it, as if the assumption was we just knew it happened. Lies. So I tell you, man, navigating this stuff is very, very difficult. But there are a lot of people who understand why the left engages in cancel culture, because they want to force businesses to realign to their worldview. I want the same thing. I want our kids indoctrinated. That's right, with American values. I want them to learn about the founding fathers, the war for independence, the revolutionary period, the ideas of freedom, liberty, republicanism, not the Republican Party. I'm talking about a constitutional republic. I want them to be indoctrinated to those values. The left wants their values. So what does it boil down to? We may agree with free speech to a greater extent than they do, but we all have our lines and our limits. And I think we have to uphold them. And it's a lesson we learn from the left as they wield power indiscriminately. I will tolerate the left having a pro-Palestine rally because I want everyone to hear what they have to say. That's free speech, baby. And then I can show the videos to my friends and family and say, don't side with evil. And maybe it won't work, but it's better than nothing. Silencing them is wrong. A matter of strategy. So right now, as it pertains to Starbucks, I don't know exactly what Starbucks should do, but I'm not going to buy from them. Like I was saying, like maybe I'll go and ask for a Union store. Like, nah, as I'm talking about it, it's like, dude, you hired these people. Fire them. If you don't want Starbucks employees waving your flag and saying they support terrorism, fire them. I'm done with this. I mean, these are people calling for murder and war and conflict, calling for and celebrating murder of civilians. That's my line. Sorry, that's my line, right? I often talk about free speech is not incitement to violence. Celebrating people who kill other people is I'm sorry. That I'm not going to defend somebody I'm not, that's my moral line. I don't care if people are like, I thought you believed in free speech. Don't play those stupid games with me, dude. You're allowed to speak your mind. You're allowed to hold your rallies, and I will defend the rights of the far left to speak these things out. Like, if they want to have a conference and say it, but you are flying Starbucks's banner, and Starbucks is saying they don't want that message. So you make the message on your own, not through them. Get the point? If someone as an individual wants to make their statements and make their voice heard, so be it. But ain't nobody going to be speaking on behalf of me or the values we have here. And Starbucks, I can certainly get it. So, to all those companies that wanted to fire people because they wanted to side with the far left, this is the bed you've made. And as you've advocated the far left for taking away our rights, I will not be defending yours. I've said it over and over again. If the far left affords me the free speech and then someone tries taking it from them, I'll defend them. In fact, you got a conservative trying to get this pro-Palestine event canceled. And I'm like, no, why do that? Let them speak, man. I want to hear what they have to say. I'm not defending them because I like what they're saying. I'm not defending them because I think their rights should be defended. I'm defending their right to speak because I want everyone to hear it so they can realize how repugnant these people are. That's the point of free speech. So even I have my limits, man. Starbucks, this is it. I'm done. I'm so sick of these far left extremists, their radicalization, and they keep calling for death and violence and harming of innocent people. It's enough now, man. It's enough. Honestly, there's a debate here. Do you think these Starbucks employees should be fired? They're being sued. I don't want to give money to a company that supports these kinds of things. I don't. And there are people who are angry with statements of people who work at Timcast, but dude, it is what it is. My moral line is not criticizing Israel. My moral line is defending overt acts of terror. And there's difficult questions here. Seriously. But I'm not like, I don't know, man. This is tough stuff. It really, really is. And I will state it again to make it simple. I want to win a culture war. I want people who oppose war. I want people who believe in personal responsibility, America first, our borders, the people of this country, the good people who want better lives. That's what I want to support. If someone comes out and overtly defends war and escalation, I'm like, I don't see how that is helping us win a culture war. And that's my mission. That's. So I don't know, man. It's not so simple, is it? This is a complicated world. We want to believe that these things are simple. We can simply say we're for free speech. Yeah, but what if someone who works for you is advocating for killing people, right? And that's not free speech, right? That's not free speech. Okay, what if it's war? Is that free speech? Death penalty, is that free speech? These are tough questions. And I think we all just realize that we have moral perspectives and moral limits. So you choose, man. I'm going to leave this one there. I cut it short a little bit, whatever. I don't know. I can only just say that it's kind of hilarious that Starbucks is being gutted from the inside and ripped apart. Next segment is coming up at 6 p.m. on the channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.